Okay, first week of the finals. Where am I? Hello guys, ETA99 here and welcome to today's video where today we'll be going through our tips and predictions for NRL Finals Week 1 2025. As you can see, new landscape, purely because we have now moved. So that's why it's been a little bit chaotic the last couple of weeks. We're doing this, so now this is the new room. It's not that small, but we got television over there, so hopefully we're starting to get a bit forward in the motions. But of course, there's finals matches on the line. Two teams will be eliminated from contention, whilst two teams will advance to the prelims, and two teams go to the semis. Well, four will go to the semis. So yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting out on Friday at 7:50 PM, we have the Melbourne Storm taking on the Canterbury Bulldogs. Now, the Storm come into this in second place after a 16-point loss to the Broncos, which helps secure them top four, whilst the Bulldogs are coming off an 18-point loss to the Sharks in the finals, which really didn't have much to do in terms of where they're going to be in the ladder, but it has sort of, I guess, affected morale. But you'd have to think. So both teams playing for a spot in the preliminary final. The loser still has a second chance, but both teams coming off losses. This is going to be quite interesting. Of course, the big news coming out of last week is Tyron Wishart is starting in at halfback, purely because of the unfortunate broken wrist or arm, I believe it was, of Jerome Hughes in his return game. It's going to be quite interesting to see how the Storm do go. This Wishart being thrusted into the final situation. It's going to be a big talking point. Also, Ryan Papenhuyzen being out for the Storm, as well as Nelson Asofa-Solomona, because he's going to be suspended for pretty much the entire tournament. And then you've got, for the Bulldogs, you've got Bronson Xerri and Marcelo Montoya out for this match. So this really could be a bit of a coin flip of how this goes. They did play only a couple of weeks ago down in Melbourne, and it was a very close game, but the Storm were able to just about get the job done. Bulldogs looking for a bit of revenge here, but the Storm looking for a home preliminary final. It's hard to say this for Dogs fans, but I think if they're going to make the grand final, they need to do it the hard way. I think the Storm are going to win and advance straight through to the preliminary final. Now we go on to Saturday at 4:05 PM. It is the first elimination match. It is the New Zealand Warriors taking on the Penrith Panthers. The Warriors are coming off a 1-point loss to the Manly Seagulls, whilst the Penrith Panthers are coming off a win over the Dragons. Now, this is a controversial statement, maybe, but I do think that Penrith coming into this are the most informed team in the finals, despite them being 7th. They've had a really terrible start to the year, but they have very much switched on. Now they're taking on the Warriors in New Zealand, which has been a bit of a fortress for them, especially when it comes to the finals. In terms of team news, not really much changes. Rocco Berry is out for the Warriors and Mitch Kenny is out for the Panthers. So pretty much it is, to a greater extent, your two full-strength teams, and this is going to be an absolute hoss battle. Unfortunately, I just think Penrith are going to be too strong here. I just think their team, they've got the drive, unfortunately, for Warriors fans. I think this is where the end of the road happens. I think the Warriors have done well this year, but it's just, I think Penrith have got a bit of a date with destiny, if you will. Now we go into the second match on Saturday, and it is also the second elimination match. It is the Cronulla Sharks taking on the Sydney Roosters. This happened only 2 years ago. This was an elimination final, which the Roosters won 13-12. I was there. And I know there's a lot of people talking about, oh, should Shark Park host finals matches? It's a tiny ground. My take of it is, elimination finals, yeah, sure. Semis, you're kind of pushing it. Prelims, no. However, the Sharks are coming off a decent win over the Bulldogs to get themselves into form, whilst the Roosters have come up with a win, smacking their crosstown rivals in South Sydney. So these two are pretty decent informed sides. None of the teams have players out. The Roosters are just about edging the favourites for this game, and it's going to be quite enticing to see what does happen. There's a bit of a change of the guard, so to speak, coming for the Sharks, because they're going to get through a couple of players. I think I understand that the Sharks have this thing where they kind of, bottle finals. It doesn't happen here. I think the Sharks win. They get revenge for 2023. The Roosters, commendable getting into the finals, because they do that usual late surge clutch up. But I just think that the Sharks will advance. And now we go into Sunday. And now we go into Sunday at 4 or 5 p.m. as we have the second of the qualifying finals. It is the Canberra Raiders taking on the Brisbane Broncos. Now the Raiders are coming off getting 50 plus put on them, but they did have a massively reserved team, whilst the Broncos are coming off a top 4 ceiling win over the Melbourne Storm. You get it? No one's made that joke yet. So this is going to be quite an interesting match. Obviously, Canberra, minor premiers. Now, if they need to win the premiership, they're going to have to do it by breaking the old adage of the 50 points means you don't win it, because the Knights 24 years ago decided to be funny. Basically, it's just a straight swap of all the Canberra players that were in the reserves straight into the team. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this one does go. Shibasaki back in the squad after showing up drunk. And this will be a match. If I had to pick any of these to go to Golden Point or extra time, it's this one. And I'm going to say, controversially, Brisbane win. I think this is going to come down to the wire. Bear in mind, still got a second chance of making the grand final, because they just have to go and host the semis. But I think Brisbane are going to run rampant to an extent, but I just think they'll just be good enough to get the job done and advance to the prelim finals. So hey, the two teams hosting the prelim finals are the Melbourne Storm and the Brisbane Broncos. Welcome back to 2006, and those are going to be my predictions for week 1 of the finals. Who do you guys have this week? Let me know in the comments below. Who's your grand final from these 8 teams? Let me know as well. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.